What's good, my people? It is the one, the only, the king himself, but what do I know boxing? Coming back at y'all with another one, man. Listen, bro, we got Canelo Alvarez in the news. As you guys can see, this is Michael Benson, who is a very, very good source in the boxing world. This is verified Twitter account. He states, Canelo Alvarez trainer / manager Eddy Reynoso has denied that they are in talks to face Chris Eubank Jr. and insists that fight will never happen. Thank the Lord. It is total false. Eubank had his chance to fight Canelo in September, and the only thing he did was complicate the negotiations. We will not touch base with him again for a future fight. And to that, I say let's give a toast, because I think me, along with many other people, feel like that's a fight that nobody wants to see. All right. And furthermore, I can definitely believe that Chris Eubank Jr. definitely are. I can believe that the Eubanks in general are hard people to deal with or to work with. You know, his dad, Chris Eubank Sr., is probably one of the most funniest people you'll ever see. But I've heard like stories about him. I mean, Chris Eubank Sr. is bougie as hell. Like, if you want to know the definition of a bougie man, go look up Chris Eubank Sr. But the thing about it is, I've heard stories about Chris Eubank Sr. in the Mayweather Boxing Club, like how he kind of rubbed boxers the wrong way. Nothing much about Chris Eubank Jr. because they say Chris Eubank Jr. is like very quiet, but Sr. said he like rubs people the wrong way. I've heard stories about them, holding up the negotiations for Triple G. If you guys remember, Triple G was supposed to, in talks to fight Chris Eubank Jr. And what ended up happening was, I don't know, they were like pressuring Chris Eubank Jr. because they were talking about, hey, bro, like, where's your pen? Did you lose your pen or whatever? Or it might have been Billy Ho Saunders, but I believe it was Chris Eubank Jr. where they were like, where's your pen or whatever, did you find your pen, whatever the situation. But anyways, I know for a fact that they were stalling for negotiations with Triple G, so Triple G then ended up fighting Kell Brook instead of facing Chris Eubank Jr. or whatnot. So, I can definitely see them being difficult to work with. I know Chris Eubank Jr. was with PBC at one particular point, and it was actually talks about him possibly fighting Jamal Charlo, and I would have loved to seen that, but he's not. So it looks like he's not fighting Canelo Alvarez. Thank God. Now Chris Eubank could, further focus, like do what he normally does and focus on welterweights and junior middleweights. That's good. Now, as far, now that we got that out the way, now the question is, so who will Canelo fight in May? Well, I don't know who he's going to fight. I know who he's not going to fight, but I don't know who he's going to fight. He doesn't have, he is at a point where, he's kind of, unless if he wants to move up to 175, I don't really know what he's gonna do. I don't know what moves he plans on making next. And for guys that, I've seen statuses talk or comments talking about, well, Canelo, he's at the point where he has the right to he's fought so many great fighters, he doesn't have to fight any threats or anything. Yeah, bro. Speak on your own terms, because, like, bro, as long as he has a belt, he is held to the accountable. He's held to the standards of a world champion, and as long as there's people fighting, and I don't feel like if he wants to let go of all the belts, then he can do whatever he wants. Like, literally, he can do whatever he wants. It wouldn't even matter at that point. But as long as he has the belts, he's held to a champion standard. And yes, he still does have to fight big names. All right, he has to fight the best fighters available. You know what I'm saying? So, but now again, I don't know. You know what? Let's look down to 100. Let's look down the rankings at 168. And let's go ahead and look at the rankings at 175 and 162, because I know Janabek called Canelo out saying that he knows Canelo won't fight him, but I think Canelo would whitewash Janabek. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But let's look at the names. All right, so let's see here. At super middleweight, you know, he has Christian Mabili, ranked number 1 in the WBC. There's still Diego Pacheco. Those are not big names, but those are good. Those are good fighters. I would still rather see them fight guys like Caleb Plant or Edgar Berlanga. I would love to see Chris Eubank versus Edgar Berlanga. I think that's interesting. Matter of fact, throw what's his name? The guy that Caleb Plant just beat. Throw him in the mix as well, bro. I like that fight. You got William Skull, who is the IBF champion. Just beat Vladimir Shishkin or whatnot. But none of those are big names. None of those are big fights. You know what I'm saying? All undefeated, but none of those are big fights. At middleweight, you got Carlos Adames with WBC. You got Erislandy Lara. You got Janibek, who is the IBF and WBO. I don't know what Janibek does. I don't know if he stays at 162 much longer. He might move up. And again, Janibek did recently say that he doesn't feel like Canelo would ever fight him. But I think I don't see Canelo having an issue with Janibek. Just being honest. Maybe, let's see here. And then, of course, at 175, you got Artur Beterbiev. You got a rematch with Dimitri Bivol is always there, but I don't know if he would want to fight him without a title being on the line. You got, of course, you got David Benavidez. But that's in the category of fighters that I know he's not going to fight. You got David Morrell. So it's a few big names at 175, but I don't know. I'm curious to see what Canelo is gonna do, or how he's gonna move, after this or whatever. And as far as Chris Eubank Jr., I mean, it's a list of people I'd love to see Chris Eubank Jr. fight. First of all, I don't know if he's gonna campaign at 160. I know he did bring up, he did mention Erislandy Lara, and of course, I know he was going to mention, even though he's ranked high for the, for Janibek's belt. Of course, I knew he was going to try to go for Lara, but that's still a good fight. I still like to see it. I don't know, man. I think that at this point, I will say Canelo has nothing more to prove. At this point, he's done. He's a Hall of Famer, and that's without any type of debate or anything like that. So it's like, he really, to me at this point, he's just fighting just because he wants to, or maybe because he wants the money. I don't know, but he doesn't have to at this point. I mean, he's kind of taking out the bigger names in the division. So unless if he's gonna move up to 175, which I don't see him doing. I know that there was rumors of them waiting for an offer for Artur Beterbiev, but that's a fight that I really got to see it to believe it, because I don't know, man. I just don't see Canelo Alvarez taking that type of risk at this stage in his career. Especially when he's like, his legacy is solidified. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see him taking that type of risk. I don't see him fighting David Benavidez. But who knows? Maybe he'll surprise us. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm interested to see who he's going to fight next or whatever. The 168-pound division is looking very well. I want to see. You know what, bro? I really want to see Caleb Plant. I would love to see Caleb Plant get his hands on another title. Maybe the IBF, fight William Skull. You got Edgar Berlanga still there. That's a good fight for Caleb Plant. You got Edgar Berlanga and Jaime Maguire, but it's rumored that Edgar Berlanga is going to fight Gabe Rosado in Puerto Rico. That's a rumor though. That's nothing solidified or anything like that. That's just a rumor. But I mean, bro, to be honest, I'm interested in that fight. But anyways, that's just my take on it, man. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Who do you want to see Canelo Alvarez in there with next? Also, who do you want to see Chris Eubank in there with next? Do you think that Canelo Alvarez possibly should move up to 175? Do you see him fighting Archibald Beef or any of the top names up there? Oh my goodness. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. But what do I know?